The Idol is finally over, and thank God. This show from start to finish was a mess, and HBO apparently only found out after we told them. Remember how there was supposed to be 6 episodes, not 5? Yeah, I'm assuming the last 2 just had most of the quote torture porn cut out, even though we still have Tedros fingering Jocelyn while singing. Okay, as I've seen, most people, including myself, are pretty confused by the ending, and I don't blame you, it makes little to no sense. I really think it's just Sam and Abel's justification to make this weird-ass show. But anyway, throughout the whole show we learn more and more about everyone, but specifically Tedros and Jocelyn. We see that Tedros is this crazy pimp who manipulates and controls and owns a cult, and Jocelyn is portrayed to be this manic crazy singer who at the end is shown to also be a manipulative person, but specifically to Tedros. Makes sense yet? I mean, this show could be cut down to a total of 10 minutes and you would get the same outcome from watching the entire show, so I can see why they cut almost an entire episode. Okay, in my title I say almost. It's not complete garbage, but why? Acting is good, for the most part. Abel isn't as bad as everyone is saying most of the time.
Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm not.
Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm sorry,
Let
I'm
me
not
fucking
sure.
catch you looking at her again. I'll fucking drag you down, Rodeo.
But Lily-Rose Depp is great, and honestly so is everyone else. But this point is built on a Jenga tower because what they are acting has no substance. The finale of the entire show, we hope, is like 80% filler. On top of that, the pacing is terrible. I find myself while watching every episode of the show checking, oh, I still have 40 minutes left. Save yourself the time if you haven't seen it and watch a 1-minute summary. That's all the time it will need. The basically one thing that this show does well without a fault is the cinematography. I will admit the show looks gorgeous. Every second on screen is beautiful, even shots that should be boring have life put into them, whether because of lighting or camera placement or both. This is thanks mostly to Marcel Rev, who did cinematography in all but one of the episodes and worked on almost all of Euphoria. Speaking of Euphoria, I'm not on a complete hate Sam Levinson train. I'm not saying I support him entirely either, but I thoroughly enjoy Euphoria, especially the first season, so I went into this show wanting to form my own opinion, but it just doesn't work. He already goes too far on Euphoria sometimes, but because of a steady and good plot with well-written characters, I stay engaged, maybe ignoring the weirdness sometimes, but The Idol takes it to a whole nother level. The scenes with the hairbrush, weird, heavy BDSM shit that just doesn't need to be shown. It's creepy, to put it simply. I cringe every time Tedros starts doing stuff with Jocelyn, especially in front of people. The 6 weeks later also felt very out of left field. You can clearly see through this and the especially bad pacing in the last episode, they made the last minute decision to cut out a chunk of the show. With better writing or at least planning, you could have seamlessly gone through the 6 weeks without having to literally spell it out. It's funny, you know, the show almost makes fun of itself in the finale, having a terrible article written about Tedros ruining him, but then still giving him the spotlight. It's almost like what happened with the Rolling Stones article. Speaking of that, to make a show about this subject matter, which could have been done very well, then having people speak out that it was the same behind the scenes is honestly disgusting. With someone who spoke out about it saying, quote, "It went from satire to the thing it was satirizing." And it did become that. It became some dark, twisted fantasy where the bad guy gets put back into the spotlight as if he was never bad. You could say it was Jocelyn taking back her strength and now being in control, but honestly, no. That's just not it. Tedros from the start was the antagonist, and then to put him back at the end after 6 weeks and an article giving his character basically a get-out-of-jail-free card is terrible. Jocelyn should hate him, which means the show shouldn't redeem him. Using the hairbrush at the end as a sign to show Tedros got played makes no sense either. But then again, did most of the show. Tedros used to have complete control of his cult, right? They would do anything he said and follow his every direction. He even got Xander on his side after fucking shocking him and locking him in the basement. But then Jocelyn can just come in and get them on her side. It makes no sense really. I think what upsets me the most about this show is that it could have been so great. The idea is solid and the cast for the most part was good. If it just went another direction or something, it could have been so much more, instead of what we got. I wonder what the show was like before the overhaul. In the Rolling Stones article, it says the rewrites are what made the show less of what the industry's like and more of a twisted love story. I wish that Tedros really got what he deserved and not put back on a pedestal. I also feel making Jocelyn's ex a rapist was very out of line. For Tedros, sure I guess anything works for him, but would Xander really do that? Would he go work for the guy that just tortured him for a day? Or would he go back to Jocelyn, or really just leave? I mean, really, did he get Stockholm Syndrome or something? Overall, The Idol has very few things that it does right, but on top of that is a mountain of garbage and terrible writing. Keep Sam Levinson to Euphoria and keep The Weeknd to singing. This show was a solid 2 out of 10, and I don't recommend you watch it unless you want to cringe pretty hard. But, I guess, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Disagree? Who knows? I saw someone say ChatGPT could write a better show, and I honestly agree.